Hello, my name is Tina von Gimborn-Abbing and I would like to welcome you for the new heat session. Find the right roaster. This is what they're talking about today. I would like to tell you a little bit about the museum where I'm at PROBAT. The Museum for Coffee Technik shows longer than 155 years of roasting history and roasting technology, but it's very close to our 155 years of history. This is the shop. This is where it all started. This was the target of customers that Mr. van Gulpen and Mr. Lensing, as merchants of green coffee, were looking at how to sell green coffee and other colonial goods from the year of 1832. Throughout the time, coffee was a very good thing to actually sell, so therefore they wanted to sell more, and also in the 19th century to sell convenience. So not only green coffee, but roasted coffee. So how can you actually accomplish that you sell roasted coffee to shops and to consumers? So the idea was to build a roaster that would do bigger capacities as small home roasters. Therefore, Mr. van Gulpen and Mr. Lensing found my great-grandfather, Theodor von Gimborn, who was also from Emmerich, as an engineer to actually create the first roaster, which is this ball roaster here, which you see. And they started a company in 1868 with the name of Emmericher Maschinenfabrik und Eisengießerei, and today it is PROBAT. And throughout the years, there's a lot of development that we actually came up with and new things. So today you will actually see the heat session. I will actually have the honor to have my own little museum session soon, but now I would just like to hand over to my colleagues on what are we doing today.
Thanks, Mrs. van Gimborn-Abbing, for this very nice introduction and for this small peek view at our museum here in our headquarters in Emmerich. I'm quite sure that a lot of our viewers are really looking forward now to this special heat event about our museum. My name is David, and I'm working as a key account manager here at PROBAT and also as an area sales manager responsible for the East Europe region. So it's nice to meet you, and thanks for joining. As you may know, we have 3 different roasting principles here at PROBAT that we can offer you. But why 3? Is 1 not enough? We think no. Because we, as a market leader, we want to offer you the best possible solution for all criteria that are important for you. What are these criteria and which roasting principle is the best choice for these criteria will be discussed in this heat session. Therefore, I have 2 colleagues with me. On the side, this is Mark and Dietmar. And yeah, thanks for your time. And really looking forward to this discussion today. For those of you who don't know our roasting principles yet, we have prepared a short video clip in advance which explained the general principles. And we would like to show you this video clip. But before we start it, please let me emphasize that if you have any kind of question during the session, you can use our chats so that we can handle these questions and answer to you directly. So thanks, and please enjoy the clip.
Here at PROBAT, we have 3 different types of roasters. They mainly differ in the way how they mix the coffee. We divide between a centrifugal roaster, the Saturn. We divide between a drum roaster that we call Neptune, and a tangential roaster that we call Jupiter. So I like to explain the different ways of mixing. Here in front of the Saturn 250, we have the centrifugal roaster, where we have a rotating bowl resting on a shaft vertically, and we have a fixed lamellar ring. When the coffee enters the bowl, centrifugal and pedal forces press the coffee to rise up to the top edge of the bowl. There, they hit the lamellar ring, and this lamellar ring contains of 80 blades. These blades guides the coffee back into the center of the bowl, where the mixing principle starts again. To get a better impression of this, if we would be able to watch on top while the roaster is running, we would recognize a shape like an umbrella. The product goes like an umbrella from the outside to the center. This allows the heat to easily affect the product stream. So as a result, we have a very, very good homogeneous roasted coffee batch. The Saturn roasters have for sure requires a gap between the rotating bowl and the fixed lamellar ring. That is one reason why the Saturn roasters like only good coffee qualities like me. Here we are in front of our newest drum roaster generation called Neptune 1000. Drum roasters are the most sold roasters worldwide, and they are based, the PROBAT drum roasters are based on a granted patent from the year 1884. They are continuously developed and improved, and this is the outgoing. So on a drum roaster, the mixing works as for the Saturn. We have a rotating roast chamber, but here in horizontal axis. Inside the drum, we have two types of pedals. One pedal system is pushing and moving the coffee backwards, whilst the other one moves the coffee forwards to the lid of the drum. The required heat for roasting enters the drum from the rear side and affects the oscillating coffee flow. Drum roasters have a low specific airflow, and that is the reason why they're usually designed for longer roasting times, between 12 to 20 minutes. But for sure nowadays, as market requests, you can also roast a 6-minute roast. On this Neptune 1000 here, for example, a 60 kg batch. In general, the whole range of drum roaster batch sizes ranges from a 1 kilo batch size for a P1 shop roaster up to an 880 kg batch size for a Neptune 4000. Last but not least, we have here our tangential roaster. Here we have our Jupiter 500 hybrid. Apart from the other systems, we have here a fixed roast chamber, and the coffee is mixed by a rotating pedal system. The pedal system creates a very equal product stream or product roll that gets affected by the heat that comes tangentially to the roaster. This good heat transfer allows you to roast within 1.5 minutes up to 18 minutes, roughly. Due to the fact that we have a closed roasting chamber, one can roast even poorer green coffee qualities without any problems. But anyhow, independent, if you decide, make a decision or try to purchase a roaster, even if you decide between a Saturn, Neptune or Jupiter roasters, the three different roaster types have one thing in common, and that is the separation between mixing the product and supply the heat. It is important that the heat can be controlled independently of a proper mixing or not. And a proper mixer is guaranteed by the different mechanical mixing principles.
Thank you for this nice and necessary overview of the different types of roasting processes. All of these different roasting processes have one very important fact in common. That is the roaster philosophy of PROBAT. So we want to have a consistent separation of the airflow and the mixture of the beans. So this means that the bean mixture is independent from the airflow. So we will achieve an homogeneous mixture of the beans via pedals, relying on a long-term engineering knowledge base where we have developed and further developed the pedals and the mechanical mixing of the beans to ensure the minimum rate of breakage to approximately, I guess, 1.17%, 1% or
Yeah.
almost nothing.
Runs to zero. That's it.
And yeah, the big advantage of this separation is that we achieve the highest variability with the airflow volume, yeah, to ensure a homogeneous roasting profile development. Yeah, even in the case of different bean sizes, which is then the advantage for blending before roasting.
Yes, for sure.
This is a very, very important point and a big advantage of our roasting philosophy. Okay, so we would like now to jump in a few criteria which can be necessary to select the right roaster. And yeah, we will go through them and want to give you the information you need to buy your next roaster from PROBAT. So first we would like to start with energy consumption, energy balancing. And I guess this is quite easy to say.
Yeah.
Do you want to add some words?
Yeah, it's more or less the same
Yeah.
for each of the systems, because the power or heat intake of a bean to get brown is more or less the same, for sure.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, there are some few or minimized differences in power consumption, because we have different airflows. As you know, the three different roasting systems have different airflows, and for sure you can achieve different roasting times. That's the reason why the systems which with shorter roasting times use a little bit more of energy.
And I guess it's also hard to see just the roaster, so it's always an interplay of the entire roasting system.
For sure,
So exhaust air treatment systems are also a relevant factor for that. Sure. And of course additional components which have an impact on the overall energy consumption. And we have taken in the last decades several and various measures to decrease the overall energy consumption.
Yeah.
And we quite confident with that at this time, but we have also the next generation in mind to reduce that to another limit.
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe Simon, would you like to add the slide to our viewers? Then we would like to highlight the next point, which is roasting time, batch sizes, overall hour capacity. And then Simon, I guess it is on? Yeah. Okay, perfect. So as you can see, we have at the first section, the drum roasting segment, starting with the P60, then the PX120, and then our Neptune series from 1,000 up to 4,000 kg per hour. And so we achieve the batch sizes from 35 kg then for the P60 and up to 880 kg for the Neptune 4000, which is then at the end the largest drum roaster in the world.
Yeah.
Then we have the tangential roasting system, our Jupiter series, starting from 23 kg per batch with the Jupiter 500 and ending with 750 kg with the Jupiter 5000. And then we have the centrifugal roasters, Saturn 2500 and the Saturn 4000 with a maximum batch size of 640 kgs. Yeah, when we're talking about batch size, capacity, and roasting times, I guess maybe you can add some words to separate these three types of each other.
Yeah, there are more or less, let's say, some typical application or roasting times per system. And that is, for example, if you roast definitely longer roasting times for example, for an espresso or what, then it goes to a drum roaster. And usually it starts with 6 minutes, but yeah, usually for an espresso it's between 12 to 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. And therefore typically a drum roaster is a good choice, let's say. So if you want to have very short roasting times and even long roasting times, then you need a very flexible roasting system, and this is of course, and this is for sure the Jupiter tangential roaster, because they are very flexible in the air amount and air to bean ratio. And for sure as well the Saturn roasters have you can achieve also very short roasting or shorter roasting times, starting up to from 5 typically to 9-minute roasting times. Mm. Yeah.
To sum it up, and regarding the Jupiter series, so when we say that a customer wants to have the full flexibility of different roasting profiles, maybe also of different bean qualities, then the Jupiter is the first choice, I guess.
Yes, it is, definitely, yeah.
And I guess this would also be the perfect machine then for a constructor, a roasting constructor.
Sure. If you had some in variation of different recipes, maybe some are short roasting time, then you have longer roasting times. Of course, then Jupiter machine is the right choice for you.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. And the mixture, I guess, is almost the same there. As I said before, mechanical mixture via pedals. Yep. And then the influence also take place with the different airflows and the different heating capacity.
Yeah, and there's another big advantage, that is that the roast chamber of a Jupiter is really closed. Mm-hmm. Yeah? So you do not need a certain gap for moving parts or what. Yeah? Mm-hmm. So like for the Saturn or even for the drum roaster. So this has a very tight roast chamber that allows you to roast even not so good qualities, let's say.
Yeah. And the drum roaster would then be the second choice, I guess.
Yeah, the second choice when it comes to bad
qualities,
let's say, yeah, because
depending also on the size of the beans.
Yeah, right? for sure, yeah. Yeah. So we have in the rear side of the drum there is a sieve, and if the quality is too poor, then breakages or small particles are allowed to go into the furnace, and that can produce some problems. But anyhow, even for this case, we have a solution and can provide the roaster with a smaller mesh size.
Yeah. So if the customer wants to have, for example, a dedicated machine for espresso, but at the same time he has, let's say, a smaller size of beans, then we are able to configure the drum roasters according to that little size or the small size.
To smaller size part.
And then he's able to run
for sure
the perfect roast.
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah. Okay. Acrylamide. I guess a very important topic of today to reduce Yeah.
A lot of customers asking for that because more and more countries are given some rules and restrictions, limits for acrylamide, and so it's a very important topic all over the world.
Yeah, this can be more or less handled for all of the three systems for sure, but the most effective way to reduce acrylamide is for sure use longer roasting times, but for sure this goes along with a decrease in capacity, so it could be a problem. So yeah, but on a Jupiter, for example, you can also try to, or you can develop or create special roasting profiles that results in less acrylamide valves. This is also possible for a Saturn roaster, but even the longer the longer the roasting time, the shorter the less the acrylamide content, let's say. Yeah.
Is it then in the case of the tangential roaster Jupiter that we put at the beginning of the roast much energy into the coffee and then reduce it by the time?
Yeah, that's the goal, to do that. But even you can also do this for sure for a Saturn roaster or even a drum roaster. Yeah? But in drum roasters, when you have usually long roasting times above 10 minutes or what, then you wouldn't have faced this. You will not face these problems with the acrylamide values. Usually not. If so, you can start to with a high energy intake at the beginning to provoke that the acrylamide peak is coming early, and then you can use the remaining time, roasting time, to let the acrylamide content decrease. That's the idea behind.
Okay. What about the dimensional footprint? So we are here in the technical center. We see the machines. We haven't imagined what is next to the roaster. Maybe we can describe a little bit to our viewers what will be necessary when we are talking about the dimensional footprint. So regarding the three different roasters.
So in general, I think we can say that a classical drum roaster needs less space compared to a Jupiter roaster, because Jupiter roasters had a lot more of piping and so on, and naturally it needs more space. So if you have a building, an existing building, and you have a lot of stuff inside and so on, we have to check if a Jupiter fits in. We can check this, so we have an engineering department. We can just put it inside at a CAD system, so that's not an issue. But of course, the drum roaster needs, in general, less space. That's the point from my experience, at least. I don't know if Dietmar wants to add something.
No, it's even the new execution of the Saturn design requires as well a very short footprint. Because from the newer type of the Saturn roaster, the cooler, we don't have a cooler ring. So we have the cooler aside, and this helps to shorten the footprint.
Okay, nice. So when we sum up what we have said, is it possible to target the machine in the connection to the right customer? So when we're talking about maybe an dedicated espresso roaster, then from our point of view now, I guess there are several other very important impacts or influences to select the right roaster. But from the starting point, we would like to recommend then, I guess, the drum roaster.
Yes, that would be the, let's say, the first choice, because this would be enough, let's say. A good solution, for sure, and a very well-known solution that works really properly, for sure, no problem. But when it comes to more possibilities in creating various roasting profiles, then for sure you need a higher flexibility, especially for the airflow.
And then we would like.
Then you would switch to a Jupiter or even a Saturn.
And the Saturn's advantage is the most homogeneous mixture.
Definitely.
When it is once adjusted, I guess, to one to one roast recipe, then it brings you tons of
Yes,
great
yes.
roasted coffee, I guess.
Yeah, and even the maintenance is not that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have a high airflow,
Mhm.
and you have a high air speed in the pipes, so it's the roasting pipes are very clean, let's say.
Yeah.
Even the exhaust dome
Mhm.
above the bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for sure, it's also a nice concept when you think about energy, because we have the burner, the furnace, directly on top of the bowl, where the product is. So very short ways for the upheated air, airflow, and therefore less energy loss. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So, do you want a view?
Yeah, maybe we can just go to the questions that we received during the session. So we received a question in our chat, especially. So it's from Mr. Radwan Al-Sadiq from Libya. And he's asking, what is the basic method for choosing technical specification, and what are the most important specification available in the toaster? I think he's referring to the roaster. Yeah, I think I can also answer this. So of course, we are standing in our R&D center, and of course you are able to come here to PROBAT together with our experts. You can try different roasting principles. You can just send your green coffee that you want to roast in advance, so that you are now what end product you want to achieve, and you can compare it with the existing qualities that you can achieve. And of course, then you have a clear picture of which roasting principle is your best choice. So I hope that is the answer on these questions. So maybe you want to add something, but I think
no. It's so we have reflected some basic influences for selecting a machine, but at the end, it's always the best solution to the best approach to come here to Emmerich to roast together with us on different roasting machines, because it's always in question of individual likeness, I guess.
Sure. So yeah, sure. So I mean, you have some philosophy that you want to achieve, and maybe you are more into the drum roaster principle. Okay, that's fine. I mean, everything that we discussed here are theoretically values, and of course you have to feel it. And if you come here, you can roast, and then you can make your decision. And I think that is the important information that you can get from this heat session, that we as PROBATs have 3 different principles, and you can choose your personal favorite, and then we support you to get a good roasting machine on site. We got another question in advance by email, and the question was why we do the quenching of the roasted coffee bean in the roasting chamber or in the drum. So I know that some other companies do it not so like we do, but what is the reason for that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very easy because inside the roast chamber we have the heat.
Yeah.
So we quench directly when we finish the roast.
Yes.
We immediately stopped roasting, and for sure then we have a higher under pressure during that time, so we completely evacuate the steam, and we have a drying time that you can adjust in each recipe, and that's a big advantage for sure. Then you have an influence on the condition inside the roast chamber, so it's all the time. Then it is for sure wet in the very first moment when you quench, for sure. But then it gets evacuated, the chamber, and the heat gets extracted.
So
the moisture and the humidity gets extracted,
so
and that's completely. And before the next batch enters, then the roast chamber. That's a big advantage. You have to cleaning is more or less than automatically.
So it's a question of cleaning. It's a question of better roasting results. For the immediate stop, and I guess it's also a question of safety, because we are able to clean the roasting chamber.
Yes, and for sure we clean not only the roasting chamber, we also clean then the steam.
Yes, I guess.
because the steam uses the same way to the exit to the chimney as the roast exhaust fumes. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
a very clear answer, I guess.
Yeah, thank you very much for this. And as far as I know, that was the question that we received during the session and that we received in advance. So thank you very much for your
You're
time. It was a very interesting discussion. We hope that this session came up to your expectation. As mentioned, so at the end, it's your decision. You're very welcome to come to us, to roast here, to try all 3 different roasting principles. And yeah, we hope that we can support you with this opportunity. Okay, that was the last heat session for this year. So I would like to take the opportunity to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And we hope that you also join us in the next year. And yeah, all the best for you. And thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.